Hello everyone, welcome to another video from Fantasy Football Scout. As you can see from the boxes in the background, I have indeed moved. I'm a little bit all over the place. I think I've set everything up right. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm joined by Gianni, and you might also notice that, as well as me having a bit of a meltdown over the last week, I think Gianni is on the verge of a meltdown because it's his worst game week of the season, and he's now 2 points behind me in the ranks. How are you, Gianni?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you, mate. I have had a terrible FPL week, though.
You really have.
Like I've gone from 88 or 89k to 199, so I've lost 100k. I've doubled my rank and then a little bit. So it was an absolute nightmare week. Nightmare.
It really was. I mean, I didn't realise how bad it was until I was putting the screens together for your team. So this is the content people want, right? People were sick of seeing you do well every week, sitting in the 100k club. They want meltdown. And the title of the stream is Wildcard, and that's exactly what you're thinking about doing, right?
Yeah, I am. Last week I said on this very stream, I'm nowhere near a wildcard. Over the weekend when I was doing poorly, I was looking at my team going, maybe it's a game week 8 wildcard. Maybe I'll consider that. And then this week, just with some of the injury news, Trent last night, for example, off the back of that news, I went, I've got flags galore. I got the likes of Traore not playing, Torres probably going to be benched, the flags. And I just thought, maybe if I'm game week 8 wildcarding, then I have to consider game week 7 wildcard because the wildcard team will do better for me in 7 than my actual team. Of course it will. So here I am. I'm 60% likely, I reckon.
Yeah, 60%. Okay, it's gone up a bit since we spoke yesterday. Right, before we look at your game week from hell, let's just talk about Fantasy 5 quickly. Obviously, Fantasy Football Scout are partnered with Fantasy 5, as we were last season. It's a free game to play, £10,000 up for grabs each week. All you've got to do is set your team up with players that you think are going to outscore their fantasy football points target. There's no bonus points, so it's all down to clean sheets, assists, goals, everything like that. And like I said, there's that jackpot to win each week. If you don't win one week, so if you only get sort of 4 or 5, sort of 4 right out of 5, there's other prizes that you can win as well. So there's currently a poll on the Fantasy 5 Twitter feed, which is what monthly prize you want for October, and currently winning is an Apple Watch. Other prizes have been a 28-inch 4K gaming monitor. There's annual prizes of Champions League final tickets and weekly prizes of a Premier League football kit of choice. Also, I noticed there's a Fantasy Football Scout mini league, and the code's in the description below. I'm second in it, £100 a month. So if I have a good week, no, I can't win it. No, I'm second. I've lost by 1 point or whatever it was. Damn it! But yeah, so close. But yeah, there's people winning lots of stuff and lots of things to get involved in, and you just play it alongside FPL, and it's nice and easy. If you're interested, Gianni, I will be talking about our picks for that at the end of this video. Links in the description to sign up and join the league too. Right, Gianni.
I mean,
38 points.
It's just a dire week, isn't it? It's interesting to see your rank on screen, though. I like that because it's only 2 points separating us. So it's good to know that 25,000 places in rank is only 2 measly points. So that's quite good. That's quite nice to know. But yeah, there'll be loads watching that are like, yes, I get to comment now and say, Gianni's back to where we expect, red arrows and on his route to 500,000. Yeah, well, I read all those comments, guys, so I'll be looking out for them. But look, if I wildcard, then I'm confident it will be a green arrow next week.
Well, you've got FPL Big Head in the chat. Good to have this Gianni back. People were sick of it. People were sick of you doing well. But there's actually quite a few people sort of, sympathise in bad weeks themselves. Philip Appleby Western Trading 46 points, dropped to 139k. Jefferson Van Dyke 38 points, just like you, dropped from 50k to 130k. It was 9k a few weeks ago, so he's really on the red. It's really hard, right? You have a bad week, and I look at your team, I look at the players, and you should have done better. Like Traore didn't play, which was unlucky. Greenwood had numerous chances to get something. Ronaldo blanked, which not anyone was really expecting. Shaw got conceded and then went off injured and got no points. White came in, an absolute dominant Arsenal performance, and even he still managed to concede a goal. So you've got to look at this and think, I'm unlucky here, but at the same time, it is pretty bad, isn't it? It's a pretty bad week.
Yeah, it is. And you're right. Like the things like Ben White clean sheet, I thought was absolutely nailed. You expect Shaw to always do better than 0. even Traore, I know he was benched and he came on and didn't do much. But what he did do was put himself 2 yards out when Jimenez just had to square it to him. And he was literally 2 yards from goal, tapping for Traore, and Jimenez chose to shoot. So that could have easily been, 6 points plus if that goes in. So there we go. Yeah, it's been a bad week. But also, I guess what we don't see necessarily from this graphic is the amount of players I've got flagged. So we know that Shaw is a flag. I think he'll be fine. Ayling, unlikely to play. Rafinha is flagged. So there's Trent we know is unlikely to play. And then you go, you've got Torres and Traore who are rotation risks now. So there's a lot of questions over, will Batici get 11 out with this team? Probably not, even though I do have 1.5 in the bank or 1.3 in the bank, which I've had for weeks, and I haven't made my transfer yet. Yeah, there's options.
Well, let's have a look. Let's have a look at how you're set up at the moment. So you've mentioned quite a lot of these players, but I was putting this together and I was thinking, after a bad week, you at least want your team to be set up looking half decent. And yeah, I looked at this a bit concerned. So you've got Sanchez in goal, Shaw, Trent, obviously a major doubt, and White, Salah, Greenwood, Torres, rotation risk, Rafinha, Traore, will he start? Ronaldo and Antonio. And the problem is, it's just your bench, isn't it? I mean, you've got Foster, Ayling, Livramento, and as we keep mentioning every week, Parika is not even in the league anymore. So you just can't afford to have doubts and injuries. And when you've got 3 potentially in your team, it's a bit concerning.
Yeah, and I know many would look at this and go, this is why to have a strong bench. Even seeing this, guys, with all the flags in the world, I still do not regret having a good... I wouldn't change that bench. I'd still have my 4.5 that doesn't play and is playing in Hungary or wherever Parika is. I'd still have Ayling and Livramento, 2 budget defenders that still get minutes. Like, I am a big believer of putting your money into the 11, and we'll see in 10 minutes time my wildcard draft. The subs on my wildcard on the bench, my bench players on my wildcard draft, they'll be equally cheap. All 3 of them will play 90 though. There won't be the Parika on there, but I'm a big believer of that. Regardless of, you got flags this week and it may have been helpful to have 1 or 2 come in, but my guys can still come in, Ayling and Livramento. I just don't expect much, sure. So yeah, it's a nightmare, mate. I look at that 11 and I think there's a few problems with wildcarding that players I won't own that could actually play and could do really well. Like Traore could quite easily start against Newcastle. And if he does, that's a nice fixture. Torres could play up front against Liverpool, and you just never know with City. Greenwood against Everton at home, I don't really want to sell him ahead of that fixture. But if I'm wildcarding, of course I'm not keeping Greenwood, but I like him for that fixture. And then at the back, White, sure, I'm not keeping those guys on wildcard, but actually they've got quite nice fixtures too. So there is a part of me that is going, give it one more week, but then I still think I lose ground.
Yeah, I mean the thing with me, I think when the season first started, I was always looking at a Game Week 7 wildcard and thinking that was when I was going to do it. But the more things have gone on, the more I think Game Week 8 next week is the one I want to do. You've got the international break. I've got 3 West Ham players and their fixtures turn quite alarmingly. I've got 2 United players, their fixtures turn. And like you say, I don't mind having the 3 or 2 United players for Everton at home. I think Everton have been pretty decent defensively. I think they've conceded less goals than United, for example. But I still think United can get at them, and they've got to, right? They've got to get something after losing to Villa in the way they did.
Do you think so? I really think, like, the reason I've not hit the button yet, and the worst thing about not hitting that wildcard button, I've missed out on all sorts of rises. Cancelo's gone up. All the Chelsea defenders have gone up. Sar's gone up. He'll potentially get 2 rises. Shaw's about to drop tonight, so I think I might make the decision tonight based on the Chelsea and United performances. If I watch tonight's games and want to captain Ronaldo at the weekend, I probably don't wildcard. I probably have a version of this team with my free transfer. Ronaldo stays, I have him captain. If I want to captain Lukaku over the weekend, which again, I will know off the back of the performances tonight, then I need to wildcard, because I'm not going to use my 1 transfer going Ronaldo to Lukaku, knowing I need to buy defenders.
Yeah, not with the doubts. Yeah.
Yeah. So it comes down to form tonight, I think, which is really weird to be like, I'm wildcarding from 1 decision based on, do I want to captain Ronaldo or Lukaku? But that's what it comes down to for me. It's whoever I'm captaining decides whether or not I hit that magic button. Okay,
so let's say Lukaku blanks tonight, doesn't look very good, gets an injury doubt, whatever. You decide you don't want to bring him in. What would your free transfer be with this team? Because a lot of people are selling Trent, right? I'm seeing that's a move that is being talked about quite a bit. We think he's going to be out of the City game. Then it's the international break. He'll probably be back after that. I would have thought. You never really know.
Yeah.
Reluctant to lose him?
Yeah, definitely. Like if I wildcarded, I could set my team up to go without Trent for a few weeks and leave enough in the bank. But if I'm not wildcarding, definitely not selling Trent. Like if I'm not wildcarding, he plays Watford in game week 8, which is like 18 days away, or was last night when he was given his 21-day, 3-week might be out for. Well, I could see him playing against Watford. So yeah, my transfer would be as a defensive move. I've got money in the bank, like I said. So that 1.3 million, I would be selling probably Luke Ayling and buying a Chelsea defender. And okay. I could get Rudiger, for example, or I could get Christensen, or yeah, I'd probably go Rudiger.
So you got $1 million in the bank to
1.3, yeah.
1.3, yeah. Okay. Interesting. Okay, well, let's have a look at your wildcard team. So this is what you sent me earlier. So this is what you're currently thinking of. So you've gone for Ramsdale in goal. Interesting. Alonso, Christensen, Cancelo, Salah, Foden. Well, we're going to talk about him. Rafinha, Saka, Antonio, Lukaku, and my mate, my sudden rise to stardom, Ivan Toney, who's now delivering the points. And on the bench, you've got another City defender in Diaz, Brownhill, and Livramento. So 2 budget players there. I mean, there's a lot to talk about this wildcard team. It's different to a lot that I'm seeing. I mean, we've got to start with Foden. He's the one that I look at and I think, everyone, okay, sensible. What? Phil Foden? What's he doing there?
Yeah, I love that. I can't tell you guys if this is going to be like my wildcard team. It's my first draft and I only started drafting last night off the back of the Trent news. What I can tell you is my wildcard team, if that's now, if that's next week, will 100% cover Man City attack. And that will be a rotation risk and it will be a midfielder and it will be a £7 to £8 million player. I am a big believer in covering City attack, and it's great to see in the chat. I think Flapjack is watching. I know Flapjack's always, like me, looking to cover the team that scores the most goals in the league, Man City. And yeah, I think Foden might be the one. It's a bit of a spin the wheel. It is a bit of a roulette. It won't be Torres. Won't be Torres. I've had a go with Torres. That didn't work. I could go. Everyone will go. Foden's 7.9. Grealish is 8.0. Grealish is nailed. Let's go Grealish. Grealish is. Yeah, he's been starting every game, but it's Pep. Who knows? Foden might be flavour of the month next month, and Grealish is on the bench. So I actually like the positions Foden is taking up. I think Man City played their best 90 minutes of football for a very long time against Chelsea last week, and that was with Foden on the pitch. And that was with Foden on the pitch as the number 9. Check out the heat maps. It's a front 2 of Foden and De Bruyne. Literally just behind Foden is De Bruyne. I posted the heat maps on Twitter last night, the touch maps, the average position maps. And then again last night, Foden was benched, which makes me think he'll start versus Liverpool. But it was a front 2 with De Bruyne supporting Sterling. And then as soon as Foden come off the bench for Grealish, he actually played on the left and looked really, really good. And did more in that 20 minutes than Grealish did for the whole game. So I think Foden will become the new flavour of the month, whether he plays in midfield, whether he plays on the left or up front. And I think at 7.9 million, it's worth a gamble. And that's what I love about City midfielders. I'm very happy with my Torres decision, despite not getting the points, because if he had have played, I would have expected points. And I don't mind a £7 million bloke on my bench. I just don't. It doesn't bother me too much. If he's benched 1 week in 3, for example. If he's benched 2 in 3, then it starts to become a problem, sure. But I think Foden's going to be relied quite heavily on by Pep.
Interesting, because I'm kind of almost going the other way now. I'm looking at City and thinking, okay, they've won a couple of games by quite big scores, but also they blanked 0-0 with Southampton. They look good again. They just seem a bit more unpredictable, I think, this year than maybe we've seen previously. And I worry that with the rotation, with the unpredictability, maybe there isn't really a way to. I mean, Grealish to me looks the obvious way to tap into it because he's playing pretty much all the minutes, but he just isn't delivering points. I don't want to go near Torres. Foden, Mahrez. I think you're brave. I'd be very surprised if you ended up with Foden.
Honestly, as if I wildcard, Foden's in.
Well, you've said it now. You had a go at me. You eat your hat, yeah. There were two accounts, weren't there? I captained Antonio, like I said I would.
You did. Fair play on that.
Richly rewarded with 1 point over Salah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we could have been over Ronaldo, so you did well there. You did really well. And to be fair, when speaking to you, I knew you were the type that would. But I must admit, there was a lot on Twitter that didn't captain Antonio, that throughout the week were producing content about how I might captain Antonio, and they were never going to do it.
God, he left it late. I tell you, I was sat in a pub in Liverpool. And I was like, I'd pretty much given up with those points. I was like, Salah's going to go mad against Brentford as well. And then he delivers. He's the new postman. Yeah, I mean, it's people in the chat, some people saying it's a great pick, others saying they don't like it. James Morgan says that Foden's worse than Torres. I kind of agree. If anything, it almost feels like you're downgrading Torres to someone.
And I'm spending an extra million.
Yeah, spending more money and more of a rotation risk.
Do you know what, Az? This is great. This is what I need. My management style means if the majority of people don't like it, I do, which suits me just fine. So you guys will all love Foden if he was scoring points. I like picking players before they score points with Man City. Like, genuinely, that's my thing with Man City attack. Get on someone before. The other wildcard draft, is KDB. Yes, the guy that's 1% owned that you lot will all tell me I'm mental for. Well, I think KDB is a brilliant pick. And if it's not Foden, it probably will be KDB.
Wow, interesting. Yeah, I mean, to be fair, look at Andy North went with Saka on his wild card, and got a lot of stick for that. As after Arsenal have been losing, quite a few games. I mean, the thing with City is their fixtures turn really nicely, so I can understand why you want to tap into it, and that's what Andy did with Saka and got rewarded. And no one had him, and now you've got him in this wildcard team, and people are kind of going for him. So, yeah, really interesting. Let's talk about some of the other options. So, yeah, sorry, people saying about how these graphics, right, they look lovely. They are a real pain to set up because you've got to change all the kit, you've got to change all the fixtures, all the names, everything. And, yes, I have got Tony playing Brentford at home. Obviously, Tony isn't playing Brentford at home. He's playing West Ham away. No. Yes. West Ham away? Is he playing?
He's West Ham. I don't know if it's home or away. Yeah,
sorry. So yeah, there's always one. It's kind of a bit of a bingo, like which screen. And I do 3 screens this time, so yeah, sorry about that. But you've been impressed with Brentford, I'm guessing. I mean, everyone is. What a game! I was in Liverpool watching that game, and it was absolutely off the scale of entertainment.
That's so cool. Yeah, I would love to have been Liverpool for that. I mean, this wildcard team, I should mention, has got, I think, 1.9 million in the bank. It's got loads in the bank, and it could become more if I sold, say, Diaz to Laporte, save 0.6 there. So Tony could easily become a sort of £8 million forward for a few weeks. I've put Tony in there because Tony is who I want moving forward. But for the next couple of weeks, I think they've got Chelsea game week 8. And then I think it's Leicester game week 9. And then after that, they go on a really nice run. So I could go for a 2-3 week punt of Jimenez or Bamford or whoever, or Watkins, and I like all the players I've just mentioned. So I don't know if it will be Tony on my actual wild card, but I'm setting my team up to know that that's what I want it to be. Tony looks brilliant as you know. I'm willing to be patient with him. He's not had any pens yet either. We know they'll come. He'll get a few. And Brentford just look like a team that are going to score goals. There's always that one team that gets promoted that actually comes up with free-flowing football that doesn't just look good, but actually gets FPL points and scores goals. Brentford are going to be that this season. I really think they are. I wouldn't be surprised to see Brentford sort of finish 15th. I think they'll stay up because there's goals in that team.
Oh yeah, I mean, I still think they're so superior, I think, to Watford and Norwich. I mean, Watford are kind of looking okay, but very, very reliant on Sarr. I think Sarr's going to be one that drags them forward. I thought Brentford would be almost entirely reliant on Tony, but
me too.
They're just a unit. Like they've got good players all over the park, and the partnership with Mbeumo is really good. Norgard's there playing really well. Defence, Pinnock is looking a great signing, and Aya as well. There's a lot to like, and Ray looks good in goal as well. So yeah, there's loads to like about Brentford. I was a couple of weeks ago, I was all set to get rid of Tony. Was looking like a pick that he's playing well, but isn't really going to come off. But yeah, he has had a pen, by the way. He got 1 pen.
Yeah, I just saw that in the chat. Totally missed that. Apples.
Yeah. And I've got lucky actually the last few games. Could have had even more points. John said something in the chat, which I was going to say. Oh yeah, Alonso, Christensen, and Cancelo at the back, either great or oblivion. Yeah, I mean, you could end up with none of those 3 starting. Is that a worry?
No, not really. Cancelo's the best left back and right back at Man City. He's flavour of the month, and he is playing games. He's not been dropped once this season. Zinchenko's actually currently out injured. He didn't even make the bench last night, by the way, for Man City, which was quite nice. So I'd have to be really unlucky. And if they didn't play, by the way, Livramento is about to go on the most unbelievable run of fixtures. Yep. I'm happy with him starting if needed. And I'm hoping it's just one of them coming in. But, currently I've got Diaz on the bench too. And we know he's bulletproof. I do think Christensen probably deserves a little bit more respect in the FPL community. We are all talking about Rudiger and Aspi and Alonso. Fair enough, Alonso for the upside and possibly Aspi. But Rudiger's being heavily backed, and rightly so. He's amazing and he's really good value at the 5.7, I think he currently is, or 6. But Christensen at 5.0 is starting games. And if Reece James is out, we could see Christensen playing right centre-back and Aspi wing-back. So with Reece James out, it gives Christensen even more chance of starting. And by the way, from the 6 game weeks we've had so far, I think Christensen's played 90 in 5 of them. At the moment, he's kind of nailed. So for value at 5.5, I quite like that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So you've gone for the double-double as well.
Yeah.
Double Chelsea, double City.
And I've not got Trent. And I do know eventually I'm going to need Trent. And I think I can go without Trent for a few weeks because obviously he's not going to play this week, might not play game week 8. And then I think game week 9 he's got United. So I'm willing to go without Trent for those 3, maybe 4 or 5 games. But to get Trent back, it's much easier when you've got a Diaz or an Alonso that you're selling him to, because you only need to then find the extra 1.5 million, right? Rather than trying to find 2 or 3 million. And currently I've got 1.9 in the bank. So I've got the money for Trent should I need him already with this exact team. So I'm very conscious of that, because to go without Trent long term would be suicide. I'm not planning that. I am willing to go without him for Watford in game week 8 if he's fit, only because it's United in game week 9, I think it is.
So Rudiger seems the obvious Chelsea pick for me.
Yeah.
With Chilwell surely going to be coming back into the mix at some point. Reece James with an injury. You've got money in the bank, but you've gone for Christensen. But that is just to make sure you've got enough money to get Trent back if you want him. Is that the reason?
Yeah. Alonso might become Rudiger, or Alonso might become Azpilicueta. I must admit, I'm not 100% happy with Alonso in my wildcard team, only because of that fear of Chilwell. And again, tonight's game will show me a lot. If Alonso plays and plays really well, then I think moving forward, Alonso will be the pick. If Chilwell starts tonight and has a really good game, I'd be really wary of picking Alonso. And even if Alonso plays well, we could still see Chilwell coming for Southampton. It is 3 games in a week. Can't forget that. Although do bear in mind, Alonso doesn't play international football, doesn't get called up for Spain. So that is in his favour. He is about to have a week off. So maybe Tuchel will put him in that red zone and go play 3 times in a week.
Yep.
But at some point, Chilwell has to come in. We know that. That could be Aspi, it could be Rudiger. And the benefit there is all 3 of them are in and around the same price point. There's 0.4, I think, but 0.5 between them. So, there's an option there. But I do think Christensen will be my second, because it's just so much cheaper. That 5.0 gives you a lot of extra funds for someone that's starting a lot of games. You get 0 goal threat with Christensen, obviously, but I'm happy with that.
Yeah, Alonso is an annoying one, because it feels like I'm going to just keep avoiding him, and he's going to keep starting, and he's obviously the best defender to own when he does play. Yeah. And he's not getting him is just that fear of him missing out. But he's been playing so well, and you kind of feel like when he was handed the captain's armband as well, you kind of think, okay, there's clearly a lot of trust being put in him, and obviously things going on behind the scenes with Chilwell. I wonder how long it's going to be, but the trouble is you don't really want to be making defensive transfers, and as soon as you start seeing him missing out, then you've obviously got that choice to make.
I guess the benefit of Alonso with Reece James out is Hudson-Odoi will play right wing back in cup games, maybe against weak Premier League opposition, but Tuchel is prioritised in the league. So I think Tuchel will be reluctant to play Hudson-Odoi right wing back in the Premier League. And if that's the case, it's Aspi. Aspi offers some threat going forward, but nowhere near the threat of Reece James, which means Chelsea are so reliant from wing back positions than on the left side. And who better to be reliant on from an attacking element than Alonso over Chilwell? So with Reece James out, I do think that slightly boosts definitely Christensen's appeal. Of course, Azpilicueta's, but also Alonso's. We need attackers in those wing-back positions, and Azpi's just not gonna do it in the same way as James would have done. So Alonso, for me, has still got a very good chance of being first choice for a while.
Yeah, because your other option, I guess, could be to do Christensen to Rudiger and Diaz to Laporte.
Yeah.
Because similar kind of a thing. Like we expect to see Christensen probably miss the odd game. Thiago Silva can come in. They've got central defenders who can play in that, and Laporte has obviously got the threat of rotation from Stones. You never really know if he's going to start, but seems to be the kind of the first choice one at this point.
Yeah.
You mentioned Laporte to me.
I did. So Laporte's got greater
considering.
goal threat. I was looking at Ted's. You guys will all know Ted. Check out his graphics. He did a goal threat for defenders. Laporte really sticks out. However, Stones hasn't been fit. And if Stones is fit, at some point, we know Pep does the flavour of the month thing. Laporte couldn't get a game for 6 months last year. Now Stones can't. You just don't know. What I would say, though, is when one of them is playing, they're usually fairly safe. So I'd like to think Laporte is safe. And as soon as he comes out, you go, okay, it's not going to be one week, one the other. He freezes someone out for a month and plays the other. So as soon as Laporte comes out, you would probably have to sell him. We just know Diaz isn't going anywhere.
Yeah. Well,
so
exactly.
for 0.6 extra, it might be worth, if you've got the money, just for the peace of mind, going Diaz. But goal threat, Laporte edges it.
Yep. Absolutely. So final player I want to talk about is Saka. So people now starting to come round to Arsenal. Dominant performance against Spurs. A couple of wins now on the board. Defence looking a bit more solid. I'd pretty much written them off after 3 games, in all honesty. I thought they looked awful. But, their Ramsdale's come in and it looks like he's got that number 1 now. So Leno has been frozen out. And there's a system that seems to be working. Xhaka's now out for a long term with an injury. That news came today. I'm not sure that weakens them much, if I'm being honest. Not his biggest fan. But generally speaking, attacking wise, they look to be clicking a bit more. I mean, Spurs were very, very happy to let them play. They looked to counter, which I thought was bizarre, given that the two teams are probably fairly evenly matched and set up, and there was only one team that really wanted to play in that game. So what's your feeling on Arsenal? Do you think maybe this is the time to get on them, or do you think it's just a bad performance from Spurs?
No, I think they have turned a corner, because it's not just a Spurs game. It is 3 wins on the bounce for Arteta, and it has coincided with a bit of extra form from Smith Rowe, a bit of form from Saka, Aubameyang's now. The 3 young guns, Odegaard, Saka, and Smith Rowe, behind Aubameyang seems to be the perfect front 4. I know Pepe's come in and done quite well, but he's never really done it at Arsenal. We know Saka is like Arteta's absolute go-to. When fit, Saka is the nailed Arsenal attacking midfielder, and Pepe's in and out. Smith Rowe seems to be pretty popular with Arteta too. So for me, it's a toss-up between those guys. Is Saka worth the extra million on Smith Rowe? I think he just might be. I look back to last season, and if you watch these team reveal videos with me and Andy last year, you'll know I was huge on Saka before he started scoring, and I told everyone I was going to go for it, and Andy was taking the mick, and you guys in the chat were loving it, and I didn't get him. And I think I had an injury somewhere else and had to make a different transfer, and that weekend started about a month of brilliant points for Saka, and I never got him. And I was getting DMs saying, "Oh, so good you went on Saka," and I was like, "Oh no, someone got injured. I didn't make that transfer."
It's the worst, isn't it? Yeah.
But I've always been a fan. Like, I think he's one of the best young players in the country. Like, he's a phenomenal footballer. He's so versatile. And when he was playing at fullback and listed as a midfielder, I was still like, I'll put him on my team, because the attacking returns were coming 2 years ago. Now he's playing in a front 3 listed as a midfielder. I think there's going to be plenty of goal involvements, because Aubameyang's also clicked. Like, now Aubameyang's got his goal and he took it really well against Spurs. I just think Saka and Smith Rowe, there are going to be lots of assists for these guys, and the fixtures for Arsenal look really good. So yeah, for me, that 6 million bracket midfielder, Saka was the easiest decision I've made. Honestly, I know loads will be saying go Sarr, but that's chasing last week's points and the weeks before and the weeks before. Saka, even if he produced a 2-pointer at the weekend, genuinely, he'd be my wildcard draft.
Yeah, no,
I like him.
Yeah,
I'm in love with the guy. He's brilliant.
I completely agree. I think he's a player who always looks good, and you actually look at the stats, and his underlying numbers are always right up there and fantastic. He's a player that is... I think he has the potential to be a consistent scorer, but also have explosive returns in him as well when Arsenal do click in the way that they did against Spurs. So if I'm picking an Arsenal player, it's between him and Tierney. Tierney's got the injury issues, which is the huge problem with him. So I think you just go for Saka for the reason that you said. And I think, the versatility of Saka as well means you're just not going to have any threat really of rotation, I don't think. Because I think even if Pepe does come in, he'll move Saka to the middle. He can play at left back, right back. He can play wherever. So he's like first name on the team sheet, I think, for Arteta. So really rate him highly. I think he's an excellent pick on the wildcard. And you've got all players like Gray, Doucouré, Mbeumo, Rafinha. I'd put Saka right up there at the top of the list.
Yeah, I think so. It just feels right, like to have a go. I don't mind the punty midfield picks, even the Man City guys at 7 to 8 million. Like I feel like that's where you get the kind of high risk, high reward. Those attacking mids at 6 to 8 million. I like being on differentials, and both Saka and Foden, these guys are like so lowly owned. Yes, I could go Sarr, and he could deliver this weekend with his good fixture, but then he goes into a horrible fixture run, and everyone else has got him. So even if he does return, it's a bit like, oh, okay, I don't get the big gains. If Saka returns or Foden returns, I get the big gains, and that's how I kind of like to play the game. So yeah, I'm going for it.
Yep. I like it. So you were 60% wildcarded before this stream. Has that increased, decreased? Do you still run the same?
I'm still 60. I want your thoughts though, Az. What do you reckon? What would you do in my shoes?
I would be wildcarding that team. Let's
without a shadow of a doubt.
Let's just go back to it. I just think you've got too many issues. Like Torres and Traore and Trent. Like they are free problems. Shaw's could well be out as well. You've got no bench. There's, it's not a bad time to wildcard anyway, because there's fixture swings, and I think you're tapping into double Chelsea defence, getting Lukaku in, going for Saka, who not a lot of people have got. You're clearing off a load of injury worries. I think it's a bit of a no-brainer for me, but it's your team.
No, I wanted your chat because I really appreciate your opinion. So I think, I'm still 60%, but yeah, the decision will have to be made tonight because there's a few things happening, right? So there will be a couple of price rises that I might need to catch tonight. There'll definitely be a price fall on Luke Shaw, who was looking like he was going to drop last night. And I went to bed last night going, oh, it's another price rise. I'm missing out on a price fall. And every night, the night before it was Rudiger and Cancelo was the night before that. And I hate wildcarding halfway through a week when it's not been planned.
Yeah.
The best things about a planned wildcard aren't just the price rises you can get from the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, but it's also the fact you can go into a wildcard having a few fun picks. And I've not been able to do that. I've not been able to dead end my team at all. I've not been able to go, oh, I'm going to go for him on a 2-week punt because I know I'm wildcarding in game week 9. So I regret that. I regret that I completely ruled it out last week and my transfers weren't aimed towards that. But saying that, some things you just can't control. And these injuries and suspensions and guys getting dropped like Traore, well, those things I can't control. So I perhaps just have to accept it and go, actually, now is the best time. Forget about the 0.5 I've missed out on and forget about not being able to dead end my team.
Yeah, I've wildcarded on the Friday after an international break before. Missed all the price rises. Panicked wildcard decision. It's not very nice. I'll leave you with Freddie McCombie's comment. If this team was to play in my garden, I'd close the curtains.
Amazing. Absolutely love that. And I like the fact that I genuinely like some of those City players as well, that I will be going with the City rotation risk in midfield, and I know that will many won't agree with that, but I just always feel like there's big gains there. But look, I hope the wildcard team I've shown you guys, if I do go through with it, I am confident it will look very similar to what I've shown, but I will be putting a video out on either Friday night or Saturday morning on my own channel with that team. So if you want to give that a follow, please do. I'll put in the chat now. I'll comment on the chat now with my YouTube page. So if you want to click and subscribe to that, be much appreciated, guys. My team I'm just putting in the chat as we speak. And I'll also be doing the Scoutcast match along. You will. For Ronaldo, I think. Yeah. And I probably won't be owning Ronaldo if I wildcard. So that's going to be a tough one. Yeah, we're doing the Saturday 12:30 game, which is United v Everton. We don't have a guest for you yet. It should be someone. Yeah, Toby can't do it, but I'll ask around a few others. I'm sure there'll be someone that steps up to it, which is always fun. We had loads of people viewing last week, which was really good. Yep, absolutely. Right, from your plug to another plug, coming back to Fantasy 5, for anyone who's interested in that game. Gianni, let's talk about, we can talk about some of the fixtures, who think
who we think are going to do quite well in this. We'll obviously split the 10 grand between us when we win, because we're a team at this. The first game is at 3:00. So get your team in before that. As I said, link to the description below. Make sure you join the Fantasy Football League. I mean, it's £100, a month for just taking part and getting some points. So you might as well play that. And obviously, you can win 10 grand for free every week. So there's absolutely no reason not to do it. So obviously Lukaku's got 10.5, which is a crazy high target. Timo Werner's there with 9.5. The Southampton players are all priced low, like as you'd expect. I was thinking of Alonso, thinking maybe we get a cheeky Alonso, 9.5. He's high.
Fancied, isn't he? He's fancied by games like this and bookmakers.
Yeah. I mean, Azpilicueta's potentially an interesting one. I mean, an assist, a clean sheet, and some appearance points would see him over the target. Or we could go for someone like Rudiger, 6.5. So gets a goal, gets a header or something like that. Then he'd be through. Midfield, I'm looking at. I mean, Kovacic maybe, he's been in good form, 6.5.
He has been in good form. But again, he's not guaranteed to start because he will only go for a two-man midfield now, Tuchel. The experiment with three did not work against City. So either Jorginho, Kovacic or Kante, one of them will miss out. I think Kante might be injured, actually. Has he got COVID? Did I hear the other day, yesterday?
I think Kovacic will play.
So maybe Kovacic is safe. But again, one to watch tonight. If Havertz or Ziyech or whoever, if he plays, does well against Juventus, then maybe you back one of those informed guys.
Well, I'm putting Kovacic in for now, but we'll see. We'll assess after tonight. Okay, Arsenal Brighton. So your new boy is 7.5. Aubameyang 6.5.
Oh, that's so good. I like that.
I don't really see. I think we'll put up a fight. I mean, it was great. I was at a wedding over the weekend, and I was checking the scores and saw Palace were winning. I was like, typical, stopping us being top of the league. But I celebrated the Mopé goal, as if we had gone top of the league because, it's just I love last minute goal. That's the second game in 3 that we've had a sort of a last second point swing. So
good.
We're just doing better than we did last season. I don't think it's the best time to play Arsenal. I think it could be a draw, but I think Aubameyang's an easy pick, right? 6.5.
Yeah, I think Brighton still concede. Whether it's you get the points or not, I can't see a clean sheet Brighton there just because Arsenal looks so expressive going forward now.
Yep, absolutely.
So I can see one all wouldn't surprise me at all.
That's what I've picked as well. Tottenham Villa. So Villa with a massive win against United. Spurs absolutely awful against Arsenal. Priced highly. I mean, Son 9.5, Kane 9.5. I'm going to back a Villa player. I think. Danny Ings at 6.5.
Watkins or Ings for me. Yeah,
Watkins or Ings. I'm gonna go for Ings. I think probably on pens.
Yeah.
Ings is in. I think. Yeah. I think that kind of game is good when you've got. There's a favourite. So Spurs probably are still the favourite, but I think if you watch them recently, so out of form. Yep. West Ham, Brentford. Tony 6.5. Straight away looking at that, thinking he could do all right. Souček 8.5, Benrahma 8.5, Antonio 9.5. These are all expensive. And Bremo's there 7.5.
Yeah, I still prefer probably Tony.
Tony at 6.5.
You got Tony on pens as well. I do think with Tony, or even with West Ham defence, they've not been brilliant this year, West Ham defence. They were brilliant last year at the end of the season, weren't they? This season, they've been conceding chances and they've not kept too many cleanos. So I think Brentford score.
Well, I went with Soufal thinking he could match Shaw and kind of got some stick for it. And he has matched Shaw, but not in the way that I thought he would, which is terrible. We'll go with Tony then. So the final game, I mean, the big game of the weekend is obviously Liverpool v Man City. It's quite interesting, this. They've been priced similarly, obviously, probably similar odds as well with the bookies. Gabriel Jesus, 6.5, which I thought was a good price for him. Firmino, 6.5, got a couple of goals against Porto. Salah and Mane, 9.5 and 8.5, as you'd kind of expect. Jota's there at 8.5 as well.
What's Foden?
Foden is 8.5, so quite a lot. Same as Grealish, same as De Bruyne, same as Torres, same as Sterling. They're all kind of...
but Jesus is lower.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus at 6.5.
In the Premier League, he's been doing so well, and he didn't play in the week. Does that mean he's more likely to start? I don't know. But I don't mind that punt.
Nor do I. I mean, he needs more than a goal. That's the only thing. He needs a goal and an assist.
Attack, yeah.
But I'm not seeing anyone else that really stands out. Defenses, they're all 6.5. So they need to get a clean sheet and something probably.
The only defender I'd consider would be Cancelo.
Yeah, Cancelo's 6.5. I think we go with Jesus. I'm putting him in.
Let's go for a high-scoring game in that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got Kovacic, Aubameyang, Ings, Tony, and Gabriel Jesus. We're obviously going to win all the money because we are a genius. We haven't won it yet, but we might do.
The time is now.
Absolutely. But that's it for us. Thanks everyone for watching and tuning in. We'll be back next week. Hopefully you'll be back on the Green Arrow Trail, Gianni, but hopefully I'll still be ahead of you, even if it's by only 2 points.
Sounds good. Thank you, mate.